Welcome back to Tao Twang. I'm Dave. We're going to get going right away with this E minor pentatonic stuff today. I've got a couple of licks tabbed out for you that I hope you can treat as source material to, just kind of do your own work and expand on it. Um, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to show you some more, contextual stuff too, but I'm going to keep it pretty, straight on with these two moves because there's you'll see there's once you get that under your fingers, you'll just kind of start moving it around. Okay, so before we get into that, just real quick, thanks so much to it's so cool lately to see all these people popping up, new people, all of you popping up in the comments, people I don't recognize, so thank you if you've subscribed. Thanks for that. I hope you're finding lots of cool stuff to do here and things that are, um, you know, experimental for you. And, there's so many of us kind of presenting similar information on YouTube. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding something that's kind of at the right pace for you or seems like it's just in the right kind of stage or something. So leave me some comments and let me know how you're doing with everything. And I love the informational stuff that's being posted in the comments now. People are referring to other YouTube videos that are related to what we're doing and albums that feature. Somebody the other day was like, put a link to an old album that had a track that used a real similar sound to what we were doing. So that stuff's so cool. And that's what I really enjoy about the Twang is just the community aspect of it. We do have a Patreon site as well. Not going to take up a lot of your time right now pitching that, but for a few bucks a month, if you like what you see here, it's just more of this, basically. But it really helps me and my wife and our family keep this whole thing going. Really appreciate it. Now let's have some fun. This loop, which I'll have several minutes of at the end of this for you to jam over, it's one chord. Let's get that up and take a listen. Do whatever you want in there, an E minor pentatonic. Just get loose like we always do on here, and go to the backing track, jump over there and warm up for a minute or two and come back, just to kind of get in that mode, get your ear adjusted, get your hand, most of you probably have, some chops and some know your way around, E minor pentatonic in that open position, that shape one, whether it's in the open position or the 12th position. There's so much stuff in the middle for E that I don't see being demonstrated as often. And I see a lot of A and B stuff, that makes sense because when you're making videos and teaching, that heart of the neck right there, it's just easy to see. And, it's kind of up to you all then to take that stuff and move it around to different keys and generalize it, right? See what you can do with it in other places. But today, I did make both of these licks for E. I located them here in this heart of the neck, right? And just maybe, that will, I don't know, open up some new kind of experimentation for you if you're not used to playing through that minor pentatonic sequence for E in this area. So something like this. Right. That's using like three of the different shapes, right? But kind of, you know, moving this way as well as up and down, right? So I'm not going to go through, you know, every one of those pentatonic shapes because that's information that um, it is great, but it's kind of the information's available everywhere, right? You can just look up those shapes and make up your own kind of practice routine for those. But these licks are um, hopefully sort of maximizing the use of changing between one or two or three in some cases of those different pentatonic shapes that everybody's kind of familiar with. So here's our first lick. Now, they're not that long. I got to look at the tab here. By the time you see the video, the tab has been inserted. But when I'm monitoring myself doing this right now, I don't see it. I want to make sure I'm playing the same thing that I actually wrote down. So here it is. It sounds like. All right, so slowly, then we're going to put the track on. All right, and I'm just starting it and stopping it. Of course, you're going to, you know, put that in and put other moves around it and encase it and, other things that you do with your minor pentatonic stuff, right? Um, but one of the things that I think energizes the sound of these licks, and I'll put the track on, is the changing of direction. Okay. So a minute ago, when I played the scale, just to kind of demonstrate where we were going to be doing this stuff, I went. Right. And that's just the mapping of it, right? So in these licks, it goes up, it drops back down, it picks up a note off the string below it and goes back up. There's not that many rules. But changing directions like that is what sparks it. It's what gives it a more interesting sound. Okay, so just bear that in mind as we're going through these. So here's this first one with the track. This track is so open-ended, you can just put it anywhere. Okay. Now, before I turn this off, I added some things to it. Right? I did it a couple of times, and I riffed around just in my other chops that I have for pentatonic, right? But you can play it, divide the speed in half to learn it. So let me do it again. Sometimes it's harder to go slow. 3 and 4 and boom. There we go. That sounds cool too. It's not just slowing it down. All right. Well, let's look at the tab for that real quick. So I had it up there a minute ago, but now let's slow it down where you can really see it here. And the hammers are optional, right? You can play it, practice it both ways, picking it. Do every which way of it like that and just see what works for you. And when you start going a little faster, most of us will just our hand will just select where you want to put the hammers and the pull-offs and stuff, right? I just put them in there on this because I think it does sound nice if you get it into that kind of legato style like that. So one thing I do want to point out about this one before we move to lick 2 is there's other fingering options here as well. So you could just kind of double stop that, roll that back down. To see how I missed it? One way you can correct that or get more be more accurate, and it actually is more efficient sometimes. It's whatever works for you, but it's to switch to your middle finger when you go down. And when you do that the second time there, it puts you in position to keep going as well, right? Not gonna stop and get hung up on all that right now, but right, if you wanna put a few other, licks and embellishments around it. So that's the first one. That bar at the end of it just means that it's already added up to a measure or an even number of, notes in 4, and that ninth fret of the G string there after the bar would be sort of like the downbeat of the next measure. But you could put all of these in different places in the measures too, right? It doesn't have to start right on the one. I'm doing that because when you're learning a lick, sometimes it's easy to just line it up and go with the beat. Okay. So now here's the second one. Hopefully I can nail this one right off the bat. We'll see. Um, Okay, so it's similar, but there's not. It's all in one position. And this one, I think, what's a little bit different about it, maybe, is starting on the minor third, right? Now, this one, I do like to use the same finger across those frets because it just works. Played one different note in there, didn't I? Okay. Once you get going with this, it's easy to kind of just modify it without even knowing that you're doing it because you just get into this kind of perpetual motion of your hand. It's really cool. So with the track, and again, we can do it up to speed and then we can do it at sort of a half speed. Okay, a half time. I like it slow like that. That's cool. Again, do what you want with the hammers and pull-offs. This one does consist of all groups of 4 notes. You don't have to worry about this part. Just follow the tab. But you can cycle it just the way it's written on there. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay. Tried to finish it off with something there, right? So I'm showing them to you pretty isolated, right? And, but once you get that now, and, you know, like I said, on this one, I think the most of the action is with the index and the ring finger. It just works out. You got that back and forth right there, and it just works. We're all kind of used to making that kind of shape with our ring finger there, probably. So once you get these two going, just kind of let yourself go. Remember, even if the track's going at that tempo, play in halftime. Really dedicate yourself to that. That'll take you far, a lot farther than trying to chase the tempo. That's really counterproductive. Um, but you'll get it. You can get it up to speed, or make your own loop, on a device where you can change the tempo of it and so forth, right? Let me know how this goes. Appreciate all of you. See you next time.